jealous of each other. Okay. Hi, I'm Miltonchang of Bonsai Heirloom. Before we start the Q&A, I want to show you this fantastic California juniper I bought maybe 2 years ago, and I cut it back very, very severely because the tree was upright. I flop it, and then I cut it all back because I saw this line. I thought it's this really incredible flow. Look at the thing goes up and comes down and did a turn. And I think it's really incredible. And if we go by about 1 inch for 100 years, this could be a 1,000-year-old tree because this is not growing in a circumference in a round way, but it's a slice of it. It's growing this way. So each inch is about 100 years, and this is probably 10 inches across. So this is a very old tree. But the amazing thing is a twist by nature. I probably shouldn't have cut it that thin that much, but I did. I can imagine this tree will be coming up this way, and this branch will be going back. This will go back. This will go back. This back. If I show you this every 6 months, I think in 3 years this will be quite a full, fantastic bonsai that I don't think you can find it anywhere else in the world like this. I think this is truly a unique bonsai. I'm so lucky to get it. The guy never saw it. He put it up so that the tree was growing really weird. But I saw this angle, and that's what I mean by you gotta find something other people miss, how you can turn it into a good bonsai for material. The first set of questions is really about soil and moss. I think soil I covered enough, which is really what is my standard soil. Which is 1 part sandy loam or topsoil, 1 part coconut coir or peat moss, and then 1 part perlite. And then you can vary them a little bit. It doesn't really matter. But someone asked me about the coconut coir compared to peat moss. I actually think the coconut coir may be a good thing to use. And I'm not talking about the chunks, but I'm talking about the peat moss like coconut coir. And the reason compared to peat moss is that when peat moss is dry, it takes a long time to have it to get absorb water. Sometimes it, never absorb water when you think the water is being absorbed, but it just really runs out. So I prefer coconut coir, which gets moist very easily. And the other question is about moss. Should I remove the soil from the moss before I pulverize it? No, you don't have to. I think little soil is good for it. And you really don't need very much moss. So a little powder can go a very long way. What happens when you spread on it, you don't hardly see anything. But as soon as it gets wet, you can see the green sheen over it. And pretty soon you're going to have a very thin layer of moss, and then pretty soon you have moss. So just spread it with the soil when you grind it up. And then the other question is that how do you prevent the moss powder from getting washed away when you water it? Well, not really, because when you put on a little bit of a powder, it sinks to the bottom of the crevices of the soil mix. And so unless you kind of like hose it down with water, if you sprinkle with water, it should be fine. No doubt some of it will be flow to the top, and then water drain out, it will spread evenly. So that's also a good thing. So don't worry about it. Again, you can hardly make any mistake. It's just nature will take care of itself lots of times. The other thing is that about growing tree in the ground, I'm in New York, and I have a couple of tropical trees. What do I do? Do I plant them in the ground in the summer and then dig up in the winter so they don't die on me? Well, I think that's too much work, and also you damage the roots quite a bit. What I suggest is you plant it in a nursery pot and maybe sink this much into the ground so that the roots will run out when it does go down below, in a sense, longer than the pot. And then it's very easy to pull it up without damaging too much of the roots in the wintertime, and then repeat the process in the next year. And then the other one is I'm at the Corpus Christi, Texas. It's very hot. How do I take care of them, and what kind of tree are good for that? Well, I think elm and pine are particularly good for that. I mean, Salcova and all the rest of it should be fine. All of them that we have should be fine. The leaves maybe get burned when during the hot summer, but if you water a lot, it will come out right away, all green, nice. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. That's, nature will take care of itself. The leaves will get burned, they will get dropped off, and then the new leaves will come out. And then the next question is that, when are you going to do a bonsai tool? So yeah, someday I will do a bonsai tool. I haven't done a bonsai tool because I don't think I'm wedded to any particular tool. You can see I use the same, what I call the handy dandy clipper. That's really a good one. I tried very many. That one, plus minus, is about the best value that I can get. We'll make it available to you when we started to sell the products. The rest of it, just figure out what you need and to use whatever tools that are available, and get bonsai tools if you like. If you want to spend some money, the qualities are generally pretty good. I will go for stainless steel so they're less likely to rust. Just shop around for a little bit of cost. They are all pretty good, honestly. And if you break it, it's not that big a deal to throw it away and replace it. I think, on the other hand, if you buy really expensive tools, those are typically from Japan. They are really great craftsmanship, but craftsmen are just getting too expensive. Labor is getting too expensive everywhere in the world. So get the manufactured kind that's pretty good quality, and I think that's good value. Someday I'll do one, though. The other one is that some people say the graft mark will improve over time. What do you think? Yes, sometimes, because what happens is that the top and the bottom, the rate of growth, the trees are about the same. So eventually, it will look, some angle, it will look natural. But my experiences have never worked. So if I were you, why mess with it? Just start over again by air layering above the graft mark, basically by burying the trees, or somehow cover the area and add rooting hormone. And it would, like maple tree will root out in a year, and that's not so bad. After that, you don't have to deal with it. My experiences, it never looked better. The incompatibility always seems to get worse. And this person says, I don't quite understand your rationale for growing in a deep pot, and then you, when you move the shallow pot, you move the trees again. What's the logic? Well, the reason why you plant in a deep pot is that you don't have to cut off too much roots. The roots that are a little below, you can let it grow. So then that will feed the tree. At the same time, the fibrous roots will grow out. So when you cut that, eventually put it in a shallow pot, it will be fine. So if you don't want to modify the tree, then what you do is you take out of a shallow pot and use the reciprocal saw, cut off to the height you want, but make sure you have a lot of fibrous roots. And then by then the trees are really pretty loose. You want to move it a little bit to reposition it. You can do that. And you grow them in one pot at once is because then you can shave the tree up on top so that the branches will look compatible. And then when you plant it in a pot, what you can do is, here's a pot of forest in a steep pot. What you can do is you can plant offside to a bigger pot, let's say here, and then this is a green lawn, green moss. I think that will look beautiful because it conveys the idea of a span. So I do advocate that you plant in a deep pot. Not only that, if you cut cut off a lot of the roots in the beginning without too much fibrous roots. You really have to water the shallow pot pretty carefully not to dry out. And then the next question is about Sumu and Bruce Lee. I don't see any wiring, so how do you keep the design? Well, you know, roughly you want the two to be facing each other, and so you just clip and grow about the same way. You can do a little bit of wiring, why not? But if you do the wiring, make sure you remove them so that's not to grow the tree. I have a couple of dwarf peach tree about this tall. You know, can I make them into a bonsai? Well, again, I think the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I haven't seen very many dwarf peach trees have a lot of branching. And also remind you the word bonsai. Bon means pot, zai means culture. It's really growing a tree in a pot. So yeah, you can grow a peach tree in a pot, and you can select a pot, shallow pot, approximately fitting the shape of the appropriate for the shape of the tree that you have. I imagine if you have a dwarf peach tree with a trunk this size and a pot and a tree is about this big with a pot about this size, you can have a pretty nice looking bonsai. I tend not to wanting to do peach tree as bonsai because a peach tree compared to a lot of the stone fruits are very short-lived because they're susceptible to bugs and diseases as compared to, let's say, plum or apricot for that matter, which is the ume. So, but you know, if you have it, you like it, I would try that. So one question is that how long does it take to make it into a little bonsai? As I said, it depends on your objective, right? So if you prefer a mame bonsai, which is a small one, basically think of it, if you start with a tree of this size, you want to have a bonsai with a trunk size about this. Well, you know, it go from here to there, it's about 1 or 2 years. And then you can shave the branch in the meantime. So you can do a very decent mame bonsai in 1 or 2 years, or 2 or 3 years, and a really nice one in 5 or 10 years. Whereas if you want start with a tree like that and you want a trunk to be that size, well, it will take time to grow into that size, right? And so to me then, I always advocate start with a little older plant, bigger trunk, and the same 5 years you spend, you got a nice big bonsai. Whereas if you do a small one, in 5 years you have a small bonsai. So it's your own preferences and how you envision the tree and make it a reality as you envision it. So with that then, I hope you click like because I really enjoy the encouragement, and it is an encouragement for me to keep going. And subscribe to our channel because so we can advise you of anything special or the next interesting video. So, well, with that, I'll end, and thank you very much for watching, and I see you next week.